On today's show, Jokic and Valanciunas, are they the best center duo in the NBA? Where do they stand after the standoff? We'll talk about the Nuggets. We'll also talk about EuroBasket and today's Locked On NBA Game Night.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
And welcome. You are Locked On NBA Game Night. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being in every day and making Locked On NBA your first listen. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com, 50% off the first year. And with me today, again, doing it again. We're talking about Jokic, of course. Swipa, Locked On Nuggets, joining me. What'd you see in EuroBasket today?
Man, wow, what a great day of games. You know, we're headed into the crunch time of EuroBasket, so a lot of teams are vying for position. Some really gritty games. We got some blowouts today, but man, I think some really good basketball is on the way. This was a great day of basketball, honestly, especially for Serbia. You know, coming off the game versus Latvia they had that went down to the wire. Today, it was a total deconstruction, but that's good because they have maybe the game of EuroBasket on the way versus Turkey, and I cannot wait to see that.
Huge one coming up. We'll make our way around EuroBasket. We'll talk about all the games that happened today. So many NBA players stood out today and had really good games. So we'll talk about that. Of course, we'll play Count It Up. We're counting the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including LeBron James's new Nike ad that is just parody upon parody upon parody of what he is at this point. So we'll talk about that. But let's start here, Swipa. The Jokic and Jonas Valanciunas, both playing in EuroBasket right now. Jonas Valanciunas and Lithuania get a win against Finland. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Serbia gets a win against Czechia, 82-60, dominant win for Jokic. He only had to play 18 minutes, and so they didn't really have to do a whole lot. But I wanted to use this to talk about the Nuggets, especially having you on, the Nuggets guy, to talk about this. Where do we stand? Let's just start here, because as an outside Nuggets observer, where do we stand with Jonas Valanciunas, the standoff that happened before? Is everything just settled? He's going to play. We're fine with it. No bad blood, anything?
Yeah, it's all good. You know, I think a lot of this had to do with there seemed to be some prior agreements that Jonas had in place with, it sounds like, the Kings and his agent, that if once he got done with the year, he would be going back to Greece to play. And it looked like about a 3-year deal worth about $12 million. And I think some of this was about Jonas wanted to go not just have security long-term, because obviously he has a partially guaranteed year that's due after this season coming up. So he has 2 years, $20 million remaining, fully guaranteed the first year, partially guaranteed the next year. And so I think for him, he's playing behind Domantas Sabonis. And so I think he goes to Greece, he'd be able to be a full-time starter. He'd basically be the best player on the team. He would get all the run, all the minutes. He's 31 years old. This would be an opportunity for him that he could get a full run to be like the best player perhaps in the league. And I think for him, there's a lot of upside, and his family is over that way as well. So from a family standpoint, a basketball standpoint, a financial longevity standpoint, I think there were so many things on the table for him. And because he had already made an agreement, it sounds like, with the Kings, this was all kind of going in motion. So when the Nuggets traded for him, Dario Saric, so the Kings get underneath the apron, which is what their primary concern was. But then now the Nuggets get a true backup center. I would argue the best backup center they've had in the Jokic era. That's where some of the back and forth was going between Jonas's side and his agent and previous agreements with Greece, and now the Denver Nuggets with Ben Tenzer and John Wallace, making sure that he's following through with his contract because they really believe that he's going to be a crucial part of this roster. So once everything got talked about and everything was put on the open, the Nuggets share their expectation that they expect him to fulfill his contract. Reportedly, Jokic also talked directly to Jonas Valanciunas, and that also gave him some encouragement as well. And so Jonas agreed to be fully in-house with the Nuggets, and he's ready to rock and try to win an NBA championship.
Good, because that move happened. I was really high on it. Like you said, I think this is the best backup he's had in a while. You think about some of the backups, and maybe since Isaiah Hartenstein was there, and he wasn't even the Isaiah Hartenstein that he is now at that point, but still was very good. Maybe even go back to Nurkic, all the way back.
Nurkic, Mason Plumlee, Isaiah Hartenstein, and then you did have the Boogie Cousins year 21-22 for a little bit.
But I mean, this one is guaranteed come in, know exactly what you're going to get from him, and
Mhm.
can get guaranteed stuff from him during a game. And this was a massive thing for them. Do we think this is the best center duo in the West or in the NBA in general? Because you start to look around, and obviously the Mavericks have a really good one, and Derek Lively, Gafford, throw Anthony Davis in there, and all of a sudden that's a conversation. But if you make Anthony Davis play the 4, which is what Anthony Davis wants to do, then
Yeah.
it's not a conversation with just Lively and Gafford. But I don't know if there's any centers that I would take over Jokic and Jonas Valanciunas, just that combo, because Jokic is already the best player in the league. He's going to be number 1 in our Locked On Top 100 that comes out later this week.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this a lot actually the other day. I would say the one that is probably the most comparable, but they don't have the top end talent, is Zubac and Brook Lopez. I think that from a defensive anchor standpoint, I think a shooting standpoint, when I say Zubac has some of the best post touch in the NBA. Those over the top hooks he has are devastating. He's a great lob finisher as well. Brook Lopez is a legitimate shooter on the outside. He's also a good post player. He can pass a little bit out of that. I think that probably would be the other one. I think obviously you look at the Houston Rockets, they got Şengün, they got Steven Adams, and they got Clint Capella. I mean, just from having 3 centers at that level, Capella's not the same that he used to be back in the day, but he's still a good player, really good center.
Do we count the Timberwolves with Gobert and Naz Reid, and do we throw the rookie Johan Berenger, who's played pretty well in Summer League? What do we think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a good one too. Yeah, I think the Wolves have a good one. I think Naz is he's more of a power forward than he is a center, but obviously their small ball units are really good. Funny enough, the Portland Trailers have one as well. It just depends on how you feel about Donovan Clingan, Hassan Yang, and then obviously having Robert Williams in that rotation as well. That's also a really good one.
I am in the Yangon. You can't call it Yang Gang because it's not pronounced Yang. That was a big conversation at Summer League, is whether you get that. The Thunder also should get noticed here is Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. I mean, that's a really good one as well. But all the ones that we've named, I still wouldn't pick any of them ahead of having the number 1 player and then also a solid backup. And this is going to do a lot for the Nuggets, because you mentioned those non-Jokic minutes. They were terrible this past year, and it was really hard for them to get anything going at all. And to have just a solid center in that spot, what is that going to do for this team?
So one of the things about Jonas Valanciunas is when I used to do all the post touch numbers for Jokic, especially, just covering the team throughout the year, 2 names always came up, Nick. One was Kristaps Porzingis, especially when he was with the Wizards, and then the other one was Jonas Valanciunas. And I would always have to kind of filter out the touches, because Jokic is getting 6 post-ups a game. I want to make sure I'm staying within 4 to 6 to get a real grasp of who's the most dominant post-touch players, most efficient players in the post. But then every time when you don't filter out, though, 2 names were always towards the top of the board: Jonas and Kristaps. And you see Kristaps when he went to the Boston Celtics, all of a sudden everybody's like, wow, where did this player come from? Well, how good? He was always just good, great shooter, good post player. Well, Jonas, 2 years ago when he was with the Pelicans, he was averaging 1.07 points per possession on every post up as a scorer. And Jonas has always been super efficient. Last year was about 0.96. Again, different situation with the Wizards. But if you look at his career, he's always been a very efficient post player. And one of the things he does well, the DHOs, the pick and dives. Jonas is not a reputational good shooter, and even from a numerical standpoint, not a really good shooter. But Jonas has had some games where he's hit some threes. And there's a notable one a couple years ago versus the Clippers where he just absolutely nailed Zubac for 6 threes in the first half. And he just was going wild. Jonas also, when he played with the Pelicans, I covered this also a couple years ago, they were starting a lineup of Jonas Valanciunas, Jackson Hayes, it was Brandon Ingram, it was Herb Jones. And they had one of the top defensive units in the sport, in part because of the way they were kind of maneuvering all their pieces. So Jonas has been able to show when he has to play higher level defense, he can. When he has to play higher level offense, he can. But one of the things that's going to be special, Nick, is Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench with Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther. You incorporate the fact they're going to have Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, and Aaron Gordon. You can play all of these different players with Jonas, and he's a great facsimile of what Nikola Jokic is. Plus, this is also the other thing, and you know this watching the Western Conference. The Western Conference is super physical, and in the playoffs, it is extremely physical. So the more size and versatility you have, And I think the Houston Rockets showed this when you play the two big lineup, you really can do a lot of different things to opposing defenses when you could offensive rebound at a very high rate. I do expect that Jonas and Jokic are going to play together next year. And I'm actually really excited to see what those lineups look like. You saw it a little bit today. Milutinov played with Jokic, played in the dunker spot, and him and Jokic were having kind of a two-man game underneath the rim. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I think actually NBA fans, if you just want like a little bit of like a master class on like what post work can look like, I think that Denver is going to have the best post scoring room in the sport of basketball next season.
Yeah, I mean, hard to argue with that with those two guys, especially with the numbers that you just laid out. So the Nuggets finally have a backup center. We're feeling good about that. Serbia gets a win. They move on to what they're 4-0 now, and they got one more game left. Lithuania gets a win against Finland, and that was a big one for them. And so now let's talk about the other teams that made big wins today in EuroBasket. We'll talk about Turkey. We'll talk about Montenegro. Germany just destroyed Great Britain in basketball. We'll talk about that and more coming up. Locked On NBA Game Night continues. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night brought to you by Monarch Money. Monarch Money is there for you when you have too much going on. All of us do. There's too many things going on all the time, and you have to keep track of all your different things, all your different investments, all your different things that money can be in. Now, it's not just like savings account, like debit card. It's so many more things. You have 401k, you have maybe a mortgage, student loans, investments, you have savings account, maybe multiple credit cards because you're trying to get different points on different things, travel or whatever. You're trying all these different things, and Monarch is built for people with busy lives and even more going on with your money. If you put out organizing your finances, Monarch Money is for you. It does the heavy lifting. You can link all your accounts in minutes. I've done it myself. It was easy, and I love the visuals. It gives you straight graphics and charts that show you exactly where your money is going and help you to categorize your spending and to know exactly where your money is going and why. So go check it out at Monarch Money. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. It's all one word, LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Game Night. We're here for you. We have a show that covers every single team every day. Locked On Nuggets, go check out with Swipa, Matt Moore, and Ryan. Great stuff over there. Locked On Mavs, we're talking about Cooper Flag every day until people complain about it, which has happened. We've had people in our comments say, why are you still talking about Cooper Flag? I can't believe it. It's like, what do you want us to talk about Luka again?
The second best prospect we've had since Victor Wembanyama. I mean, I would be excited too.
Thank you. Somebody finally said it besides me. I feel like let's talk about EuroBasket, though. We're inching closer to the end of the group stage. They play 5 games, and then the top 4 in each of these groups will move on to this tournament. And so we talked about Serbia getting a win. What did the win for Serbia mean for them right now?
Well, honestly, this is more about just the fact that they got a win and they're able to rest. Jokic played 18 minutes today. Yeah. And if you just kind of understand, like, one of the things Serbia did today was just a total deconstruction of what they were trying to do offensively. And look, obviously Czechia is not like the most talented team in EuroBasket right now, but they're scrappy. And so what Serbia did is they were just super fundamentally sound. In the first quarter, Nick, they just were turning them over almost every single possession, and they were running from the start. It was 27-5 after the first quarter. 27-5 because they just were doing everything they had to do to get out in the transition, get uncontested baskets. They were playing super physical, super disciplined on the defensive end. They weren't giving up a lot of good shots. Now, I will say this too. Serbia, and the announcer were talking about this today as well. Serbia is like, they kind of are getting the reputation that they're like the creme de la creme of EuroBasket right now, just because of the reputation of the country, the reputation of the players they have. They have a lot of players that have played in the NBA. Yeah. Obviously, they have Nikola Jokic. They're just in a tier where a lot of people expect greatness from them. And now, without Bojan Bogdanovic, they really, or Bogey rather, they're going to really need to find ways to be able to stabilize that point guard play and guard level play. And today was Micic. So Micic hasn't played well all of EuroBasket so far, but he really got going today for a little bit and just in small parts. But Micic today giving you 7 points, gave you 4 assists as well. He had a 3-pointer that he hit. A really nice play too. Like, the ball got passed out to him, Nick. He tapped the ball over the defender, caught the ball, sidestepped, squared up, splashed a 3. And you just kind of see his rhythm is kind of getting back. And I think he is going to be so important to what this team is going to do over the next game versus Turkey, and then getting in the single game elimination, because they're going to have to find somebody outside of Aleska that can play point guard, play guard, and get you consistent baskets. So Jokic got the rest, Micic got more confidence, and they got the win. That's everything you can ask for.
Great one for them. So they continue to move on. We mentioned Lithuania and Finland. Jonas Valanciunas didn't have to do a ton in this one. Larry Markkinen for Finland, 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. But Lithuania ekes out the win, and so they look at their group, and all of a sudden Lithuania is 3-1. Finland moves down to 3-1, and Lithuania is above Finland right now, which is better for them in the next stage.
Yeah, look, Lithuania, I think it's going to be an interesting I think them being able to go in and, we'll see what happens in when we get the single game elimination, but they're a really talented team. I like the way they constructed their roster. Obviously, Jonas has played really well over this run, but it's when we get to that stage, it is going to be like, who can last and who's going to be able to survive, because all of these teams have a lot of really great things about them, and it's going to be a bloodbath when we get to the elimination stage.
And there's so many good bigs in this.
Yeah.
Like, you see some of these teams where you just go, oh, they just don't have any bigs that can hang with these other teams. We talked about Slovenia yesterday. Yeah, they just don't have bigs that can hang with some of these teams. They're just going to get destroyed if they end up in that tournament round. Like, they play a Şengün, they play a Jonas Valanciunas, a Jokic, like, God forbid. I don't know what would happen to them if they played them.
Right.
Even a Vucevic is in this. So, speaking of bigs, Turkey, 4-0. They're in the Group A. They're in that same group as Serbia, Latvia, Estonia. And Şengün, 21 points, 8 boards, 5 assists. Turkey has a bunch of NBA players if you haven't followed them. Shane Larkin used to be in the NBA.
University of Miami.
Was drafted over Giannis if you're a Mavs fan. That's one. Cedi Osman, Furkan Korkmaz, Adem Bona, and Yoma Ertzevin they have a bunch of NBA players, and so, but they rise to 4-0. They're also plus 95 because they have that point differential, and so I don't know. They're running away with this group.
Yeah, Turkey's really good, and if what we're seeing from Alperen Şengün, and I don't want to say real, but like if Alpi can find his touch again, I mean, he is just a really dynamic center, and I really like the way that he's been playing. He's been aggressive, he's been smart, his defense has been good. That's a talented team, and I think that Turkey, they're making a case that they can win it all as well, and so they look really good. They've been the most dominant team in their group so far. I'm actually really excited. Like I said, I can't wait for Serbia and Turkey to play.
I want to clarify. Shane Larkin didn't get taken over Giannis in the draft, but the Mavs traded their pick that was taken before for Shane Larkin. So the Mavs ended up with Shane. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Montenegro.
But who would have thought Giannis was going to be that, though? You gotta let that one go.
Well, the Mavs did draft Kelly Olynyk, and then they traded him for Shane Larkin. And I don't know. I think you'd rather have Kelly Olynyk at this point. He's still playing in the NBA. Montenegro gets a win against Sweden, 87-81. Sweden falls to 1-3, and they're out of the top 4. Montenegro rises to 4th, so they're in that group with the win. That was a big one. Nikola Vucevic, 23 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, and Pelle Larsson for the Heat. He plays for Sweden. He had 28 points in this one, and so that was a good win for Montenegro, who move up into that group.
Yeah, I mean, Vucevic, like Valenciunas, Şengün,
so many picks.
Then you getting Kristaps, Porzingis, like, yo, this is crazy. Like the big. Do you think the bigs internationally are they just better than U.S. bigs?
It feels like that, but we're getting there because they grow up and we're talking about a lot of skilled players. These are all players that can pass, like really good passers. A lot of them can shoot too, and so you get these guys that grow up with. And they have better footwork too, because they're playing other sports. They're playing soccer. They're playing other things. But it is interesting to see the disparity in talent right now. If you're somebody that watches the NBA and goes, "Oh, I just miss when big men were dominant," like, watch some EuroBasket, man. Like, you're gonna scratch that itch for sure.
Right.
2 more games. Germany, 120-57 against Great Britain. Just dominating. Talk about a team that has NBA players. Germany rises to 4-0. They're plus 134 in their point differential right now. That means they've won their 4 games by 134 points combined. They've basically clinched that number 1 spot in their group. Lithuania is 3-1, and they're plus 35. They're the next team in that group, just for comparison. But they have Tristan da Silva. He had 25 points today. Franz Wagner had 18 points. Dennis Schroeder, 19 points. Daniel Tice, 10 and 9.
That's a squad, dog.
Just a dominant group right there.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Tristan da Silva. I think this could be a real leap year from him.
Yeah, huge. That'd be massive for the Magic. Last one, Latvia against Portugal. Again, this is a back-to-back. We talked about them yesterday. Latvia rises to 2-2. Portugal falls to 1-3. Porzingis has 21 points, 9 boards. The Bertans brothers combined for 25 points and 6 threes. And then for Portugal, Nemias Queta, the Celtics big, had 16 points and 7 rebounds, but that was a good win for Latvia. Now you look at where Latvia is. They're 2-2, and they have a pretty big lead over Estonia as far as point differential. Latvia is -6, Estonia is -42. And so it feels like Latvia has like entrenched themselves into the top of Group A.
Yeah, I mean, Estonia's just they might be the worst team like so far in EuroBasket. I mean, it's pretty close. So
it's Cyprus.
Yeah, Latvia's good. Latvia's good. Kristaps having an amazing tournament so far.
Great one for them. Another big. Coming up, let's play Count It Up, where we count on the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including LeBron James, the forever king? ? This is nuts. I could not get over this commercial. We'll talk about that and more coming up.
Big chicken, baby.
I think a lot. I'm very smart.
Take that for that.
Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up.
It's counted up. Should we have counted up how many times we mispronounced the player's name today?
Oh my gosh. I've been messing up. His name is Petrusev, not Petrusev. I've been saying that wrong for a while now. So excuse me, Petrusev.
I know. I wrote some of them down. I was still like, I just mispronounced that name so badly. LeBron James and Nike released a new commercial with a quote. He carried the weight of every expectation on his shoulders. There's like this kid narrating this. If you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it. He never broke. We were all witnesses. Every rival was defeated. Every idol was destroyed. He took the crown and kept it. My question is, Swipa,
count it up.
Was every rival defeated? Was every idol destroyed? Because I don't think either of those things happened, because I was there in 2011. I remember what happened.
Look, I asked this question and people got mad at me on Twitter. So, I mean, like, I'll just ask it here. And like, I'm a huge LeBron fan. Like, so I have LeBron literally mellowing weight on my header on Twitter. So like, people, you're still mad at me. I just don't understand that language. If you absolutely flamed out versus the Mavericks in 2011, I just don't understand how you just conquered every one of those hurdles. And then Duncan, you got swept, when again, he's 22 years old. Well, that's something that happened. And again, this is later LeBron. LeBron's still an MVP candidate, though, because I still know people when I talk about LeBron's ranking, they say, well, LeBron finished, he got 5th place votes in MVP this year. Okay. So if we're doing that, LeBron's is 1-8 versus Nikola Jokic in the playoffs in the last 2 seasons. And then he just got 1 forward versus Anthony Edwards. So like, still some hurdles, but again, it's like, well, he was too early in 2007 and it's too late in 2025, 24 and 23. So I don't know. I just thought the commercial was interesting. Again, it's marketing. I have no issue with LeBron. Like, he's always been the chosen one. He's always had the crown, always been called King James. But yeah, I just want to hold true to the language. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
Every rival was defeated. I don't know. It feels like Steph Curry beat him a couple times in the finals.
Okay, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. If
I mean,
Steph Curry, you admit Steph Curry had the advantage in at least 3 of those finals by a significant
for
margin.
sure. But if we're talking about every rival was defeated, like you talk about the language in it, every rival was defeated. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Because the rival was way better, and we get it. Like, I understand. I don't think it was a bad thing, but they're the ones that made the statement. And so it's just it's just the thing with LeBron. His whole career just set him up for, like, they even say it in the commercial. He was called the chosen one, right? Like, they set him up to fail because the expectations were so high. Like, he has exceeded anybody's actual expectations from when he was coming out of high school and he was 18 years old in the NBA. Like, if you had just said an 18-year-old player, well, I don't know, that's tricky. There's some 18-year-old players that have really not panned out in the NBA, and then you saw what LeBron did, you'd be like, wow, this is incredible. But because the expectations have always been so high,
could his career have gone better? Do you think?
Man,
like 11 really the only one you're just like, if he wins that one, then it's basically a perfect career.
A perfect career
relative to like LeBron.
I mean, I feel like Cleveland could have done some more things to get better players around him, right? Like, that's where I think the fault is. I don't think the fault is with LeBron himself, except for that 2011 where he averaged 18 points a game. He was getting guarded by JJ Barea at a certain point. Like,
he was the best player for them on the series,
and he just did not show up in that moment. And so you can't call it a perfect career if that's the case. But I mean, he's been as good as you could have ever expected somebody in that spot. I just think that that the marketing and everything around him has set him up to be this like mythical creature, when if we just looked at him as a human, we would just appreciate the greatness, because he has been so great.
Yeah.
Speaking of appreciating greatness, or not maybe appreciating greatness, Nico Harrison was at a Twin Peaks restaurant with his family recently. Have you seen this video? Have you seen this video? Okay.
No.
This is going around Mavs circles right now a lot. Like my group chats are all sharing this video, and it depends on which side of this argument you're on if you agree with this person or not. Nico Harrison and seemingly his family, I'm not sure, are in this restaurant. It's actually a Twin Peaks, which adds to the hilarity.
Wait, is Twin Peaks a family restaurant?
Definitely not. I mean, it depends on how old your kids are, and depends on how like open you are with your kids, I guess. Like, I don't know. I grew up with people, like some of my friends, their parents let them watch like South Park and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe that family is going to Twin Peaks. So they're there, and they're sitting next to an open window, which adds another odd layer to this whole story. And a Mavs fan walks by, and his friend is recording him, and the Mavs fan leans up against the window, like over the hedges, like the bushes that are outside the window, leans over and is like, Nico. And Nico kind of like slowly turns, like anybody would if your name got called out randomly out in public. He turns over, and the guy gives him like daps him up. And then the guy goes, "We're always going to hate you forever. Still hate you. F you." And like yells at him and walks away. And it just has the dumbest smug look on his face. And I've seen both sides of the story. I've seen people say that's unacceptable. You can't do that if that was his family. Like, you just can't be that guy that does that in person. Like, it's sports. Leave it to sports. And then I've seen so many Mavs fans be like, hell yeah, he should never be allowed to have peace. Continue to do this. Like, we should do this until he's gone. That's the only way to fix this. My question is,
Count it up.
which side of the spectrum do you land on? Did he go too far, or is this just a fan speaking for the fans?
Well, I think that's a weirdo behavior, but my background. I think that's crazy to be, bothering people when they're with their family at a restaurant, like especially at Twin Peaks.
What if they traded Jokic before he won the title?
I wouldn't care. Like, not that much to be bothering people. Like, first off, the fact that I would somehow recognize Calvin Booth, outside, like, he'd be sitting at Blanco's, which is the Mexican restaurant. Like, it's pretty nice.
Is that the version of Twin Peaks for
no, not
Denver?
at all. Like, no, not at all. No, not at all. First off, I wouldn't even, like, if he was at a Hooters, first off, that'd be an enclosed building. So there'd be no way for him to even be in there. So I think
in
me,
Texas, they have open windows.
Exactly. I just think no. Like, I just don't think you should ever bother somebody. Like, who was it? Justin Jefferson was at an event with his family in Minnesota, and then, like, fans were trying to walk up to him, get an autograph, and he was ignoring them. So fans were like butthurt. I'm like, why would you ever interact with somebody in that space? Jokic went to a function with his kids in Denver, maybe like last year or something like that, and like there's video of him with his like children, and for all I remember, nobody messed with him because it's like you just let him be. Like, it's just mind day business. I don't know. That's not my thing.
But in this age where you can video everything, and this guy went viral because of this interaction, like he's riding high on it because so many people are happy that he did this and that he's speaking for the fans and all that. So I think it's too far too. I would never endorse doing something like this. But we're gonna keep seeing it. It's not gonna stop for sure. Also,
there's a video of me that went around me getting harassed at a Target not too long ago. So so it's just I'm good. I don't like that stuff. I don't believe in that stuff. Cause now if I fire off on you, now the story changes. You know what I mean? All of a sudden it's like, oh, Swipe was no, don't do that.
The guy that was going viral for Fire Nico and made the mural with had a mural with his hat and all that. He came up to me during a Mavs game too, and he was trying to get a rise out of me, and I was.
What'd he say?
Oh, just like that I wasn't speaking for the fan. I wasn't hard enough on the trade, all that kind of stuff. It was right in the thick of it. I mean, so.
What did you say?
No, I just kept asking him what he means. What did I say? I asked him if he listened to the show, and he said, I stopped listening after blah, blah. I was like, well, then you don't know what I'm saying on the show. So you have
I feel like you were very notably media member level incensed.
Called it the worst trade the Mavericks have ever done. Worst trade in NBA history. Like, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do with it. Right? Like,
you still haven't gotten over it.
I mean, with Cooper Flag has helped for sure, but I'm still gonna think about it. We have an update on the Luka Doncic Overwatch like billboard.
Oh my gosh!
My co-host Isaac Harris drove by the AAC this morning, and the billboard was up in 3 places at the AAC. So the Mavs requested it to get removed, and it has not been removed because it is still up as of Monday, September 1st.
I just think that's which one
The
is
Mavs
worse?
lost. The Mavs lost in both ways in this scenario because they requested it. The request got leaked, which makes them look really soft, and then it's still up. So it's like they didn't
So
get
wait, which is
anything.
worse? Approaching Nico saying we're always gonna hate you at a Twin Peaks, by the way, or the Mavericks asking that a banner or a billboard across the street be taken down? Which is worse?
Oh, I think the Mavs asking for it is gonna be worse because they just gotta let it go, man.
Oh my!
I won't say I won't ever say a fan needs to let it go. You feel your feelings. Now you got to act a certain way in public, like with people, and be nice and courteous and all that. But yeah,
Like Thunder fans when the Pacers lost in Game 7 because Tyrese Halliburton popped his Achilles, and there are these helpless Pacers fans walking through the street.
Look.
Yeah, it's just no. Why? For what? It's a game. Like, relax.
Speaking of Tyrese Halliburton, he got asked about his Taliban nickname on a podcast recently, and he said it's unfortunate. The Taliban is. And then he paused for a second and said, a terrible group of people. And it's unfortunate that on social media it's become the thing. Obviously, I could never publicly acknowledge it or respond. People will come in my Twitch chat and spam that. My question is,
Count it up.
are you pro or against the Taliban?
Bro, that's not even the worst name. I'm not even going to say his name. I'm not going to say this. There's another player. I'm not going to say his name that has a worse nickname that's much more current today. So, no, that's Twitter. Twitter going to do what Twitter do. I think you can't acknowledge that. There's just no way. There's way too much, way too politicized to acknowledge that. So I'm fully with him on that.
Taliban is wild. Like just the implications of it alone. But that is, like you said, it is what Twitter is. And it has been that way for a long time. And it has only gotten worse because the platform itself has grown to the point where it has chased away any decent people that are left on it. And it's just all of us crazy people left.
Just imagine if Karl Malone was playing today, you know?
I mean, Patrick Beverley just realized why that was nuts.
Apparently.
Recently. Do you believe Patrick Beverley didn't know? We did that.
He probably heard it in passing, but I think the details of like a 13, that's like, you know what I mean? That's probably not common knowledge for a lot of people.
Yeah. You'd think in the NBA though, people would talk in the stories. I mean, you've been around NBA teams. Like we've heard stories of people and you're like, oh man, well, that story's getting around to me. Then it means that what are the stories that are shared with players, right? Like, so there's probably just so much that There you go. That's some EuroBasket. We're talking about Nuggets. We talked about a whole bunch of things. Go check out all the great shows. Go check out Locked On NBA Daily. Wes Goldberg, Matt Moore doing great stuff over there on that show. Go check out Locked On Nuggets, Locked On Mavs. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA Game Night. Boom.